Hey, I'm Ben Lee, and you're on A-Sides with Jon Chattman.
This sound, I want it to surround me. Play it loud, play it loud, play it loudly. A-Sides, around, around, around we go. A-Sides, let's play our life and here we go.
I think in some ways there was a surrender into not fighting my audience anymore. You know, I've had a career that's almost 25 years long, and for a lot of that, I felt like I was adversaries with my audience, and I was going, you think I'm going to do that? I'm going to do this. And you think I'm going to do this? I'm going to do that. And I finally realized that I have something bigger that I want to say with my music. So instead of getting into an aesthetic argument with my audience every time I make an album, why don't I just give people what makes them happy and what they want to hear? And within that, I can put any type of content or concepts that I like, and it makes it easier to go down like medicine with sugar.
And that's the way I like it. So please.
Brad Wood and I have worked together on and off over my whole career. Even when we weren't making albums together, we finished working on the Silver Lake Chorus record together, which is a 26-member choir from LA that I produced and he engineered. An artist called Sophie Coe. So we've sort of always stayed in touch and always kept working. He lives down the road from me. And it's very rare, you know, to have that type of a relationship with someone in this industry that stretches over 2 decades. It's something I don't take lightly. I'm very grateful for, and we've seen each other through big changes in our lives, through marriages and births and failures and successes, and I think that type of fraternity that you achieve with someone in collaboration over that longer period it's very precious.
Baby, please open your eyes.
Well, the mixtape album was something that Squeaky Clean, Sam Spiegel, and I had begun working on probably 15, 16 years ago. And the thing that confused me about it was I started it in a place in my life when I wanted to prove myself. It was very egoic. I said, let me show everyone what a great songwriter I am and how I can write for different people's voices and how versatile and all that. And as I grew up and matured, that goal no longer applied. So I ended up having this project in the works that needed a new fire or a new motivation in order for me to find something that actually made sense, a platform to release it. So for a long time I was just on my iTunes and I was thinking, what am I going to do with this project? And then over the last few years, as I've become more and more involved in this non-profit called Inkari, which does a lot of work with the indigenous people of Peru and with supporting the exiled Tibetan monks from the Garden Shatse monastery from Tibet but now living in India, I decided that was an adequate motivation now. It was like, let me get that record out and I'll give all the proceeds to this charity. And suddenly I felt motivated again. So it taught me a lot about the process of inspiration and how inspiration can't be based on a goal from the past, but it actually has to be something that feels relevant currently in order to keep you excited.
So please, baby, please.
Yeah. Well, it's really interesting with spirituality and meditation and God, because we think in the beginning that we're hunting for something, and we think that we're sort of, I want to add a bit of this to my life and a bit of that, it'll balance me out, it'll be a good person, and we feel like we're the hunter. And then at some point in the process changes and we start realizing that we're actually the hunted, and that there's something that wants us for its use. And I suppose it's been a gradual process and will continue to be for me. It's a process that I've lived through and continue to live through. And I want more and more to be in service of that which seeks me for its expression, meaning my inner truth. it has something it wants to say, and more increasingly I'm putting my life at its service. So I hope that makes sense.
My garden's a secret compartment, and that's the way I like it.
In some ways, to me, they don't seem contradictory, in that I'm very interested in a psychological process that is called mystical death, meaning psychological death, the death of the idea of what we are or what we were in order to become something new. And a lot of this record centers around this moment of letting go of the past and letting go of concepts and letting go of ideas and identities. So that moment is full of tension and it's full of struggle, in that it is painful to let go. Like anyone who's had anyone close to them die knows that it's difficult to let go at times. But then from that, something new arises and there's an opportunity to step into a new experience. So I think those types of ideas really do go together, the pain of letting go and the birth of something new inside us. So maybe they are a contradiction, but they're a natural contradiction.
And that's the way I like it. So please, baby.
I think the venue affects me in only superficial ways. At the end of the day, I understand my job as an artist to continually offer an invitation to my audience, and that invitation is to the heart. And my concern can't really be, are they accepting the invitation, or how is the invitation received? But I have to stand in the integrity of just continually offering it. And whether that's talking to you today, or playing in someone's living room, or playing at the closing of the Commonwealth Games, which I did 15 years ago, 10 years ago, to 70,000 people, it's really all the exact same thing. It's me standing here, present, trying to be present in my experience, and reaching out my hand for an honest connection. And so I try not to focus on the differences, but try and focus on that common thread.
That's the way I like it. Yeah, that's the way I like it. I hear Beyonce on the radio. And that's the way
I think the most important thing for me with raising kids has been realizing they're not children, they're little old people in tiny bodies, and that they've done this many, many times before, and not to condescend to them and not to talk down to them, but to guide them, because we all need guidance, we all need each other, and we need to be parented. So reminders of virtue is almost the best thing we can give our children. Basic human virtues of kindness and of patience and courage. These are things that are innate to us and innate in the human heart, and children have them too, but they need permission to reveal themselves. So I think as a parent, we can just remind our children of that. And as far as for the child, for Zachary or for my daughter, I think the only advice I can really give them is to seek their truth inside.